Morning, we have a guest speaker today, and it's kind of exciting. Matt Jones actually is up here from California to speak at a convention in Wenatchee. It's a affordable housing conference convention in Wenatchee, so he's ready to go get them pretty riled up about whatever it is that he's going to get them riled up about. I want to tell you a little bit about Matt. On September 11th, 2002, at the age of 23, he was told that he had cancer, and not just a simple cancer, but it was fairly serious, and it would eventually spread to his brain, and he slipped into an unconscious state. And the doctors didn't think he would live, and against all odds, he recovered, had a bone marrow transplant. He relearned how to walk. 2 years after relearning how to walk, he completed a marathon. So through his amazing story, Matt inspires, he encourages, and he helps others to transform their lives and to bring energy to their experience. He's the author of Going Through Hell, Don't Stop, and Life's a Marathon, and 101 Timeless Truths. Matt's a high-energy guy, motivational speaker, and so I want you to join me today in welcoming Matt Jones. Give Matt a great round of applause. Hey.
It's a beautiful day.
A big round of applause for a wonderful introduction. And also our guest musicians who really touched my heart. Big round of applause. Awesome. And if you're excited about life and creating your brightest future, let me hear you make some noise. All right. That was so good. I think we can take it one notch higher. What do you think? So if you're excited about life and creating your brightest future, let me hear you make some noise. Woo! All right. And shake someone's hand, your left, your right, look in the eye and say, I'm creating my brightest future. And imagine this. You're standing among 15,000 other people, 6,000 miles from here in Rome, Italy. You turn to your left, and there is the Roman Colosseum. And you're waiting for a starting gun to fire so you can run 26.2 miles. Or as they say in Rome, 42.165 kilometers. Now, anyone here like me think that sounds like a somewhat crazy idea? Last March, on the 21st, that's where I was, at the Rome Marathon. And for me, it was part of creating my brightest future. And one of the really great things about the Rome Marathon, in order to get a medal, all you have to do is finish. Which is a good thing, because I got it 6 hours and 30 minutes. But I finished. And it's such an honor to be here this morning. This morning, what I want to do is share with you the laws that allowed me to overcome cancer 3 times. Doctors, they didn't give me a chance to relearn how to walk and now to complete 2 marathons. But the most important thing, these laws that apply to your life, that you can have your brightest future. How many would be interested in learning something about that? Can I see your hands? All right. And is it okay if we have a little bit of fun along the way? Yeah, it's fun. We can have fun in church. You know, a really great thing I like about Unity, that picture of Jesus laughing. Because it's so true. You know, sometimes I think people think, you know, spirituality, you got to be all serious. No, it's about joy and laughter. So if you're excited about creating your brightest future, let me hear you say, victory! Victory! June 4th, 2006 was my very first marathon. The San Diego Rock and Roll. 2 years and 4 months prior, at the age of 25, I was sitting on a hospital bed. I reached down to tie my shoes. I couldn't remember how. There was a physical therapist in the corner of the room, and my dad, he walked over, and just like when I was a boy, he reached down and he took a hold of my laces. 25-year-old man, and I couldn't tie my own shoes. And I think back to that day, If only they would have been Velcro. That would have solved the whole problem. Now what had happened was the cancer had come back for the third time, spread to the fluid in my brain, and I slipped in this unconscious state. Now no bright lights, no warm fuzzies, I was just out of it. 2 o'clock in the morning, into my room walked Dr. Doom. Now, you probably have a Dr. Doom or two in your life. Maybe it's a mother-in-law. They're the ones who brighten the whole room as soon as they leave. And she walked over to my bedside where my wife, girlfriend at the time, Ariella, had pulled up a chair. And later she told me, she said, "Matt, I pulled that chair as close as possible to your bed. And I laid my head on your chest, and all I wanted was for you to know I was still there." And she gave me the greatest gift that you can give, the gift of love. Now, I realize money's important. It's right up there with oxygen. But the most important thing in life is to love and to be loved. And the foundation of creating your brightest future is love. A love of life, a love of yourself, a love of others. And Dr. Doom, she walked over to the bedside, she nudged Ariella, and she took her out to the hospital hallway. "Ariella, you need to call Matt's family and friends. We don't think he's going to make it." But what Dr. Doom didn't realize, and what we know, is this divine potential within us, the Christ within. And miraculously, I recovered. Yes. And that year, one of the best things of the whole thing, I got the most birthday cards ever. But for whatever reason, the next year, I got the least. I mean, what's up with that? But what happened was, I've been bedridden for weeks, and that's why they sent a physical therapist. And after my dad had tied my shoes, him and my physical therapist helped me up. And I went to take a step. I couldn't remember how. And so what they did was I had put one arm around the physical therapist, one around my dad. They took my left leg and picked it up and put it in front of my right. To my right leg, picked it up and put it in front of my left. One by one, as I had to relearn how to walk. And that day, even with their help, I only went like 5 yards, and I was exhausted. Maybe some of you have been exhausted lately. Maybe today you're exhausted. There's a Chinese proverb that says, "Our greatest glory is not that we never fall, but that we rise every single time." Physical therapist, she got a wheelchair. They placed me in the wheelchair, and they wheeled me to my hospital room. And they helped me into the bed, and as I laid there, in my mind's eye, I got this vision of running a marathon. And to get a crazy idea like that, I'm pretty sure it was all the medication they had me on. I mean, 26.2 miles, I couldn't even go 5 yards. There's a timeless truth that says, where there's no vision, the people perish. What's your brightest future look like? What do you want to have? What do you want to do? What type of person do you want to be? The other day I read that the New York Times weekday edition contains more information than the average citizen in 17th century England would be exposed to in their lifetime. You know, we're no longer in the information age, we're in the information overload age. And if you have no idea where you're going, it's kind of hard to get there. And the first law of creating your brightest future is the law of visualization. So to put that into practice, you have to visualize your victory. Now, to keep the energy high, and also one of the ways we learn as adults is kinesthetically, which is using our body. So when I say visualize your throughout the talk, if everyone would go victory, that'd make my whole trip worthwhile. Just try not to hit anybody, okay? Sound good? All right, here we go. Visualize your victory. All right. But here's what I realized, that visualizing my victory, I stayed in my bed, picture myself running and crossing the finish line, would it happen? Unfortunately not. One of the things Unity teaches is, you can't just know it intellectually. You've got to put it to practice. James, the brother of Jesus, wrote, "Don't just be a hearer of the word, but be a what? Doer, yes." So the second law of creating your brightest future is the law of action. So please repeat after me, take action.